All right, everybody, we are back, and today we are with my man, Josh Farley. Bro, thank you so much for coming on. I've been super excited to speak with you.
Thanks for including me, bro. I was so hyped. I told you that day. I was like, I want to catch up with Nick soon. And then you texted me like an hour later. I was like, let's get it.
Heck yeah, bro. I see you getting out there. I've been so impressed with your business this year. I had to sit down with you. You seem to have taken your business this year and done a complete, not even 180, a 360. And I always think that's really cool. So I want to figure out how you did it.
Oh, yeah. I appreciate that.
Heck yeah, man. Real quick, before we get into it, shout out to my sponsor, Renova Financial. If you want a hard money loan, bro, shut up. Stop looking around. Everybody I know that's making a ton of money, flipping a ton of houses, they're all using Renova. It's a fact. All the landlords I know, the DSCR loans, guess where they get them, baby? Renova. They didn't even think about it. They just pull the trigger. And that's what you should do. So, Renova, hit up my man, Jeremy. He'll take care of you, baby. Shout out Renova. Let's do it. All right. Thank you. I got to pay the bills. You know how it is. There we go, baby. All right. So, bro, I want to learn how you, first off, how do you start and get into this? Take it to me. Let's start way back. How do you first get into this? And let's use that as a baseline, kind of.
So, originally, my long story short, somebody I was connected with way back in the day, their older brother was in real estate, right? Okay. And he kind of had the life that I was like, yo, this is cool. He was like 40, always out on the yacht, lived in Miami. I'm like, shit, looks good. And I was like, yo, how do I go about doing something like this? Because like I didn't even know. I thought like $25 an hour was like a ton of money, right? And he's like, every time you save 10 grand, go and buy a house. And I was like, yeah, bro, like how do I even do that? Like how do I save 10 grand? And he's like, I'll tell you what I did. So back in the day, he was a realtor in Philadelphia. He bought a ton of properties in Fishtown, like before it was like anything. Right. And then he started development and kind of just pursued that way, right? So I was like, all right, cool, man. And then me and the person that connected us ended up, falling apart. We weren't really friends anymore, didn't talk anymore. And it kept like playing back in my head. I was like, maybe I'm going to try this. So I started wholesaling and I connected with this dude, Brandon Wims. And
get out, bro. It's so funny. Every Philly person somehow knows Brandon Wims.
Yeah.
He put like half the city on.
Literally, bro. So it was funny because at the time, I think he charged $1,000 maybe. It was like $1,000 or something. I met him for dinner. And I'll tell you what, like from what he did, like at the time, like I've never seen anybody do the similar like mentorship that he did. Bro, like he jumped in the truck with me. We drove around the city. He would like hop out, run into houses, like find contractors for me, find deals. Like that's how I started. Okay. But it was 6 months. Nothing happened, bro. I'm calling, but I would literally drive around the city, write on paper, like messed up houses, true people search them. And then call them. So I spend Monday to Wednesday after work every day from like 5:30 to 9:30 doing that. Then Thursday, Friday, I would call everybody. Saturday, I would try and go on an appointment. And I finally got my first deal. The day after my buddy that started this with me stopped doing it. He was like, yo, I'm out. Like, I'm good. And I just like, I'm calling until I get a deal. Call. Finally got a deal. I ended up selling it, made 14 grand. I was like,
best check you've ever made.
Bro, it literally, and like I probably, if I knew the city at the time, like I should have made like 40 on it. Yeah. Like, I didn't know. This dude gave me an offer and I was like, 14, rock out. So,
you never had that in your account at one time?
Never.
Oh my goodness.
I didn't even know what was happening. I was like, this is crazy. So I got in like the wholesale space.
Okay.
And at the time, the realtor that sold me my first house, I would call her all the time. I'm like, hey, can you run comps for me? And I kept asking, like, let me get your MLS login. And she wouldn't do it. I was like, I'll give you deals. Like, if I can't wholesale.
Make some money.
And she's like, no. Like, I'll run the comps, whatever. And then finally she was like, I'm going to pay for you to get your real estate license. Just go do it. I was like, I don't need you to pay. I just don't want to do it. She was like, no, like, she's like, go get your real estate license. So I ended up getting my license. And I thought, like, I'm just going to do this so I can, like, invest more in real estate, And I, for, like, 2 years, I kind of, like, screwed off. Like, I didn't really have a focus or, like, an understanding on, like, what I really was supposed to be doing, like, what was possible. And one of my buddies said to me the one day, he goes, dude, you realize, like, you have a license to print money and you're just, like, trying to go 10 different directions? I was like, you got a point. And I, like, at that time, I was doing so much different stuff. And I was like, you know what? I'm cutting everything back and I'm just going to stay one lane. That's it. Like, if it's not vertically integrated, I didn't want to do anything with it. So that was 2 Januaries ago. And it's kind of been off to the races since.
Okay, I love that. Yeah, it's tough to go very far if you're going in a bunch of different directions.
It's impossible.
I used to have a coach that would say, I think he's ripped this off from something else. So he didn't make it up himself. But it's like, if you're trying if you have to go through a forest every single day to get where you need to go, if you go in the same path, I think in the same direction, eventually you make a path. And then it's really, really easy. You just rip the path every day. If you go a bunch of different directions all at once, you never gain any traction and do anything.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I couldn't agree more. It's so funny. Like, I'm sure you get it too, right? People reach out to you like, yo, what are you doing? What are you doing? And it's like the same thing, bro. Like, I work like I have an office job. Like, I was just talking about this with you. Like, I get to the office practically the same time every day. I get in the office. I crush all my follow-up. I crush all my new lead gen every day, set appointments, and check my emails and do my social media, and I go home. Like, bro, I barely show any houses. Like, I let the team handle that stuff, and it's just like I'm locked in the office. I make more money sitting at my desk than I did showing 100 houses a week. Like,
that's good.
And the amount of houses I've sold this year that like I've never seen is insane. Like, I have sellers I've never met. You know, like I have people that have lived in Florida. We connected. I sold their house. I'd never seen the house, never met them, whatever, and they're like my best friends. You know, so it's like I'm like this is how people do it at a high level. Like, when you understand, like you can only be so many places at one time, right?
Yes.
So when you start focusing on just doing deals like that, where you leverage all the opportunities, I think it helps me be able to do an extra 5 or 6 deals a month.
Okay.
You know,
that's a lot of deals a month. How many are you doing a month?
Averaging between 8 to 10.
Oh my goodness, bro, you're busy as hell. You're double busy as me, brother. You're busy.
The spreads aren't as big.
Oh, that's okay. But all right, so let me ask. Usually, there's not many realtors out here who are really doing a lot of deals. There's really not. I feel like most realtors are super. Maybe it's their expectations aren't super high, but most realtors are not super active. They're not doing many deals. Like, they're not making much money. You're very different. What do you do? So tell me about your program. How are you getting all these deals? Because you actually do marketing, and most agents I met, they've never spent money on marketing or put real sweat into marketing a day in their life. So what are you doing for marketing to get all these deals?
So it's funny because I was just talking about this with my partners that I run the team with. Was most agents never reinvest into their business. They get a check and they live off that. For me, it's like I have a baseline of like we're filling that marketing account because our bills are high, you know? So right now we utilize some like PPL style programs like realtor.com to generate buyer leads for our team, right?
Okay.
So we're spending money on that every month. Those leads come in, and like I have one girl on my team that's like a hardcore closer. If I send her a deal, like she's closing them over the phone.
Nice.
It's insane. But before her, it was me or the other girl on my team that ran it with me would take those calls and set the appointment, and then they would go out and handle it. On top of that, we also use SMS. So we're using an SMS outbound every single day. Like we're sending probably around 2,500 out messages.
Okay.
But I just track it. So I know like every 500 we send out, I get 20 replies. I usually can set an appointment. So like to keep up with where we want to be, it's about 2,500 a day go out between me and a couple other people on the team. And then we also have an events program, right? So in 2025, we have events scheduled out throughout the entire year.
Oh, cool.
Taking a bunch of people to the Phillies game. We rent out like Altitude Trampoline Park. You should bring your son and your daughter.
I don't got the knees for that.
We'll let them bounce around. But so we have that. We have like a big event, Halloween party. We also are doing like a midnight pasta in Philly. So we bring all our clients together, right? So we do a lot of public events, plus we bring all our clients to them. So it's just getting everybody around, you know, spending the money to put on great things that people want to go to and have a good time. And like we try and do it without a business side. Just come have fun, right? So these people come, they always connect with us on a real estate level, but it's not by, you know, it's not like we're forcing it. It's just come have fun. So this has been like a big switch for me. Because I'm such like a outbound person that now we're really focusing on creating a good inbound system. Yeah, because at some point you don't want to have to be crushing the outbound, you know?
No. It's a lot of work, a lot of follow-up. Yeah. Inbound is a lot nicer.
And they're easier, right? Like,
Oh man, it's a different expectation and level and different trust level. So much easier.
it really is. And like, I think the referrals and stuff like that is something that people rely on. So we don't rely on that.
Yeah.
We make shit happen. So when the referrals come in, they're just bonus. Like, you know, so if I have 2 or 3 a month that are friends, family, people that I know, like,
It's extra money. Like,
it's just extra money in my head. Like, I don't expect that, you know? So, but I focused on making it predictable by our outbound system.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah. So it's like, you know, I know what I can expect if I put the work in.
Yeah, if you get no referrals, you know that I'm spending X amount of dollars, I'm getting X amount of contacts, X amount of leads, X amount of appointments equals X amount of deals.
100%.
Not complicated.
And then we also, we do have one guy that cold calls and sends, you know, a decent amount of leads throughout a week. But he wasn't hired as a cold caller originally. He became one. So now we did just hire a full-time cold caller. They're 45 hours a week. They're fully trained.
Okay.
You know, it's Eric Klein's program.
Cool.
They're, you know, when you hear them, you're like, okay, they know their shit. Like they're hungry. They're hustlers.
And how long have you been doing it?
They start in January.
Oh, okay.
So
I can't wait to find out how it goes.
Yeah, so we've had like the prep with them and stuff, and I'm like, okay, you know, this is pretty solid. Like just hearing it, how they script, how they provide the value, how they provide the lead, you know, we'll see what happens. And I feel like I'm a good closer. So if they get me on the phone with somebody and they have their hand up and they want to sell, we're gonna figure out how to make money out of that deal.
Heck yeah, man. Well, I've been excited to see how you do with that. I've been. If you're going to do cold call stuff, he's got a good program. I've never made cold call work, man. So
I used his training, like, so, you know, and I think that's something that understanding to ask the right shit on the phone has been a game changer, right? Like, it's so funny because I feel like every time we're on a call with a seller, it's like next thing I know, I have their whole life story. I know what their dog's name is. I know, you know, it's all this stuff. And like people are like, oh my God, you just spent 40 minutes on the phone with them. I'm like, yeah, but you spent 40 minutes calling people that didn't answer. Like, true. What one would you rather? You know, it's like, I'm cool, man. If I talk to this guy for 40 minutes and we close a deal, I'm all about it. Like, I don't care. We could talk for an hour. So that's been like something I've just kind of been focusing on and treating the calls with as much care. You know, so I know, like, all right, I'm gonna get on this call. I'm gonna execute and figure out exactly what I need to figure out before we hang up this phone. And by the time I hang up the phone, like, we're either setting an appointment or rescheduling for the next time. You know, like those are my baselines.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how we got into it. You know, just building a system to generate outbound, and now working on the inbound is, I think, the second part everybody should do. But I think everybody does it backwards.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, everybody does do it backwards, and like that's tough, bro. Unless you have a crazy like immediate circle that can. But for most people, it's.
I don't know if it was having a wholesale background that I just look at it differently.
Of course.
But like I always joke, right? Like everybody in the real estate space hates wholesalers, right? And I always say to them, I ask them the same question. I say, do you hate wholesalers because they work harder than you, or do you hate wholesalers because they make more money than you? And they're like, they don't have like, because either one is like, they're screwed, you know?
Yeah,
like, that's what it is. Yeah.
But it's really true, though.
It really is, dude. And it's funny. Like, I always work with, you know, other people that do acquisition, like wholesale. Like, I don't care, bro. I see some sheets. I'm like, you just ripped 40 grand off that. Like, good for you, you know? Like, bro. You're taking me to dinner, though.
Yeah, so they're going to be happy to.
You know?
You just made a 40 pop.
Yeah. So it's like, I treat it the same way. It's like, I'm going to go make myself eat. And, you know, if I don't go to work today, like, I'm not going to eat. So I just treat it like that. And it doesn't matter how many deals are under contract, what's closing, nothing. Just treat it like we don't have any business. You know, show up like there's no business if you don't get to it today. And I think that's been something that, like, just motivates everybody. And we have an in-office, like, kind of mandatory thing with our team.
Oh,
and
that's
like,
nice.
People, like, don't like that because, like, everybody wants to work from home now, COVID era, you know, but, like, all my agents show up, bro. They're in the office, they're crushing calls, and then you hear someone get an appointment, you're like, oh shit, like I gotta catch up, you know, like
wheeler room,
literally, and like we all treat it the same way, and like it's just been something that like we get after it, and everybody shows up with the same like level of hustle, and it does numbers, you know. So that's been huge. I just think I look at it different, you know. It's like run it like a business, run it like a company. Don't treat it like it's a side job, and you're not gonna get paid like a side job.
Facts, yes. It's so funny how simple that is, but that blows a lot of people's minds. Why? I have no idea, bro.
How many people can ask you, what are you doing? And you just tell them, I follow this schedule.
Yeah.
It's how many calls I make. And they're like,
nah, can't be that easy.
So what else? I'm like, you want me to tell you that I cold plunge 3 times a day? I red light therapy. It's like, come on, man. Like, it is what it is, And I think, like, I don't have anything sexy as far as, like, a morning routine, nothing like that, bro. I wake up, take some creatine, smash a Celsius, I go lift weights, and I go come home, get a shower, and go to work. Like, I love it.
You're not, reinventing the wheel.
Mm-hmm. I might start going to jiu-jitsu or something, though. Y'all look like you're having fun.
I think it's very, very good.
I know a lot of people going, and I'm like, I don't know. Either I'm going to start boxing or that, but something to, like, switch it up.
You should do jiu-jitsu, don't box, because you can never be great at boxing unless you're willing to take damage.
True.
And you're too old and you got kids, so you already missed it. It's too late. But you could get good at jiu-jitsu at any age.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Boxing, you waste. It's just a workout. You never get anything real out of it again, unless you're trying to take damage.
Yeah, I feel that. Yeah, I just like it's like at this point now, like my goal probably by end of next year. Like my goal for next year is to do less deals. And, like, it's the first time I've ever, like...
Welcome to being a dad, my brother. Welcome to being a dad.
I think it's the first time I've ever, like, looked at my stuff and, like, I'm going to do less business next year. But it's smart. It's the focus of, like, if I try and run at the level I'm running at now, I can't be the best team leader that I need to be. And, like, having people on my team say how happy they are being there is more rewarding to me than closing an extra 20 deals, like,
yes.
So now it's like seeing them close business. Like, shout out Ian, he got 2 back-to-back this week. Emily got 2 back-to-back next week. Like, everybody has that, like, hunger, and I'm seeing their businesses blow up, and I'm like, if I can do better to make them do more.
Yeah.
My favorite line, bro, you're never going to make less money by helping others around you make more. It's physically impossible, so, like, that's kind of the level I'm trying to run at now. And, like, I'm never going to sell 150 million by myself. It's impossible, So, like, let's do that as a group and let everybody eat. So that's what I'm focusing on. And, like, dude, I'm coaching 100 agents right now, and, like, probably going to have another 80 or 90 added into that. And it's like,
with Drew Keller Williams.
Yeah, like, I gotta, at some point I gotta, like, all right, let me cut back a little bit and just have some time, get to enjoy it. Cause, like, it's cool, but, like, I didn't go on a vacation this year, and, like, I used to travel every month. Like,
you're busy now. You have a bunch of things going on.
Yeah, so,
you like it?
Yeah, bro. I mean, like, I love it, and if I didn't have a kid, I would run at this level for as long as I could, but you gotta take the wins and then also, like, be able to enjoy it.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah.
Your children, there'll be a point in time where they're out at school or they're going to be with your friends. And this is the period of time where you get to be with them and have the most influence than you ever will. Most people, they spend it all at the office or all running around. It's a big flex, I think, to not and to enjoy that time.
I look at it, bro, and I'm like, I look at, like, every scenario, right? How many people run a big business and then their kids want to follow in their footsteps, right? The people that I see run a big business and their kid does want to follow, that's, like, what I look at it like, all right, you did it right.
Yes.
I have so many friends that, like, I even have family that have built businesses that are very successful.
Yeah.
Their kids want nothing to do with it. I'm like, did you win? Like, did you really win at life? If your kids don't aspire to be, be great, or you're not their superhero, so, like, for me, it's like, I want to make sure that my kid's like, damn, like, my dad's badass. And then, like,
that's good.
Also is like, damn, my dad spends a lot of time with me,
Yes, that's what matters, being able to spend time with them.
Yeah, I always see the videos online of, like, the kid, like, first time in, like, the Porsche GT3 RS with their dad. And I'm like, that's the shit, like, I want to do, Like, I'm just trying to be able to be like, my kid brags on me,
Yeah,
So,
those are very good things to aspire to. And if you keep that in your mind, you're going to just keep running and running and running. I love it.
And it's, it's all good. Like, I think this business from, like a macro look, like, you can do it at any level you want. And that's the beautiful thing, like, there's one dude, he buys a lot in South Philly, Nunzio, like, he runs at his own race, bro. Like, he's like the most, like,
actually
anti, like, social media popping dude I know. Like, he just loves it. Like, he's just like, And I think he has like a full-time job too. Like
He's got a very nice job.
Yeah, like good job, crushes a bunch of deals, buys a bunch of properties, and then you got people like McCann that like eat, breathe, sleep real estate. Like there's nothing else.
McCann do that.
Yeah,
Okay.
There's nothing else going on. Dude's like 1,500 deals a year. I'm like, how do you even run like that? So like you could be anywhere in that space, and no one's gonna tell you to do just something different. So like I just want to be in that circle of the players that play at a high level and, be able to keep doing that. So that's my goal.
Okay. Yeah. Well, how many people do you have on your team now?
So we have 8 agents.
Okay.
And
including yourself?
Yeah, including myself. One of those agents is our admin.
Okay.
But I just did hire another admin. So I'll have 2 full-time admins.
Cool.
And the one that is currently an admin, like she's a closer. Like she closes a bunch of deals.
Get her out of that role. Make her just a closer.
So we just, that's why I was like, all right, time to hire another admin.
Yeah,
and like, I think that's another thing too. People are scared to like make that leap or commit to it. I'm like, bro, like every hire you make needs to double or triple what you're paying them. And
listen to this.
If you can't see that in 3 months, it's a you problem, not a them problem.
Yes, very much so. Very much so.
So like she starts in January, right? My admin now built out an entire SOP or systems and procedures. Everything we do, everything's templated.
Yeah.
There's a whole system. She's going to start coming in next week, getting trained, figuring out what she needs to do. And by January, she'll be up and running to the races. Yeah. And I do a bonus structure. So like you get a salary, plus you get a bonus on every deal that closes because now you get a piece of it.
Of course.
You're locked in. You want to close that deal as much as I do.
Oh, yeah.
So like, and I also believe if you start winning at a high level and you grow out of that role, welcome to the team, baby. Like, now you're an agent. Like, go get it.
This worked out really well.
But guess what? Now you got to train the old admin before you leave, So it's like, it's a system that never fails. Like
nice.
Bro, I have no problem taking care of my people. And like, that's huge. So like now we're going to have, we'll have, hopefully by the end of the year, I want to bring on 2 more agents. I'm very picky because they got to fit the culture. I'm not just hiring people to hire people. There's so many teams out there, right? Like you'll see, like they got 40 agents. I'm like, you have 40 agents, but you only closed 20 deals this month. It doesn't even calculate,
Yeah.
And I also don't want to be the team that has 10 agents and only closes 10 deals. Like I want something substantial. I want everybody to run at that high level because everybody's going to fall to that lowest tier, right? Okay. So like if you have someone in there that's like barely showing up, they're barely putting in the work, it's going to bring everybody down. I want people that come in like you and me, high level, energy, like let's run through a wall, So like they all run together.
It's tough to find.
It's hard. And like that's why like
you got to go through a bunch of loose fitting people for this.
I think my only goal that I've like put on a sheet is to grow that I don't care about when it happens is that one because I'm so specific. Like I don't want to jeopardize losing someone else because they're pissed off about the hire I made, because they're like, dude, they don't fit. And like,
they got to fit, especially if it's an office environment.
Yeah. And like, dude, we go out, we do a lot of stuff together, especially all these events, things like that. Like everybody got to jive and that's hard, So like, we'll see. 5 years from now, I might be like, bro, I screwed up. I shouldn't have did that. We should have just hired a bunch of people. But, in my head right now, it makes sense. And like, that's what I'm trying to do.
You're the captain of the ship. So whatever fucking makes sense in your head right now, that's what you got to rock with.
Yeah. And like, I think I get a lot of respect from the agents that work with us.
Bro, they fucking better. You put in tons of work.
But aside from that, they see I care about them, So like, I would never jeopardize their environment just to put more money in my pocket. So I think they respect that.
Like, they would have to.
So... They never tell me, but
but they would have.
Yeah, no. So it's cool, and it's like crazy. Like the one girl, I didn't want to hire anybody that's a part-time agent. Like you got to be locked in. Like this is your shit. Like if you're not locked in, you're not locked in with me. And the one girl, we were like, let's make an exception, hire her, but tell her she got to quit her job by the end of the year and see if she commits, right? And I said that, and she kind of was like, like I don't know. And I think she closed 3 deals in like 3 years at her old brokerage.
Yeah.
And she came over here and started lighting it up. So like she was just missing that coaching aspect of like helping her. And dude, she's like off to the races. Like she's a hustler. She crushes cold like PPL leads basically. And I'm like, it takes a special kind of person to crush them leads. So like when I seen that, I'm like, oh, you're locked in. She sent her 2 weeks. She's giving her boss a month because like she's same thing. She's gonna help train her replacement.
Okay.
And she's coming in full time. But she texted me today on my way here actually and was like, hey, can I shadow you next week? I want to see what it looks like being in the office locked in full time on exactly what I should set up my schedule for. Bro, I didn't ask her to do that. Yeah. Like knowing you were a hustler and you want that, like locked in.
Aboard.
Yeah, locked in. Like I already know, like I have no issues. Like you're gonna be a rock star, you know?
Yeah.
So like those are the kind of people we try and find.
Okay.
And it's funny. We have this one kid right now. He's not on my team. I just had him join the brokerage though, and every day, bro, he beats me to the office. He comes in my office and works from my office at my chairs and just crushes it every day. And I'm like, all right. Like, you know, I see that, you know, and like I didn't make him an offer yet, but like you want to see someone go and do it on their own before you want to do it for them.
Okay, it sounds like the culture there is very, very good.
Yeah. So like that's something that I'm excited to have and something I enjoy being around. But
I bet the more the culture's like that, the easier it'll probably be to get top talent.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, and like I've been doing these classes, right? So like I teach pretty much every Tuesday already. Usually, you know, 50 to 60 people in the classroom, but I started doing some like pop-up classes and like now I put it out on social media and like even if they're not at my brokerage, I'm like, yo, come to class, see if you like it, you know? And the people that are going to show up to that are usually people that are hungry, people that want to be better. So like they kind of already fit the culture, you know, from like looking at it and I'm like, all right, come to class. And I want to use it to meet more people. And it's been cool. Like I've met people from other brokerages I didn't know. I've met people that are doing different things in different niches. Like that's cool. You know, I'm like, all right, cool. Like let's just kind of make those connections and be able to find more talent. So now aside from just selling real estate, like I'm also like trying to attract talent, find people that fit the team and like grow that aspect too. And I think my goal at some point is that like we really wouldn't have to put houses on the market. Like I wouldn't have to do anything because we have so many agents that are hustling that like eventually we're always gonna have a buyer that matches our inventory. So it's kind of like now everybody's double popping every deal, like, and that's the level I want to run at. That's another thing with wholesalers too. I always mess with agents.
I've heard you say this before too, and
it's the funniest thing, bro. I'm like, how many agents do you know double pop a deal maybe once a year? But every wholesaler I know double pops every single deal.
Yeah, of course.
You know, so like I have that same mentality, bro. Like I've double popped so many deals this year. Like people don't even like can't even wrap their head around that. They're like, how do you like convince the seller to like let you do that? I'm like, do you understand what happens outside of this world, bro? Like, I'm like, this happens every day of the week. Like every wholesaler I know does the same thing, and they just can't grasp it. It's so funny. I'm like, wait, so let me get this straight. You don't want to make double the money like that.
Some of these people, the way they think, I can't. You can't make it up,
dude. I just like sometimes I just look. I'm like, wait, are you serious? Like I seen last night, like not to promote them or anything, because most other people they do suck at New Western. But somebody's like, I got an offer from an agent in New Western. Like, what is this? Is this a scam? I'm like, are you serious? Like, just look it up. Come on, like, what are we doing here? And like, I mean, nothing against them, but I mean, they do close. Anytime I've had like a New Western offer on a deal, like they always close. Like, you know, they're big enough, dude. Their disposition is huge. Like, you know, it's like you're literally hiring someone that has 400 plus disposition agents to sell your deal. Like, they're gonna sell it. Like,
if they can't sell it, then you don't sell a deal.
Yeah, exactly. So it's funny though. Like, I always see stuff like that. And I'm just like, you guys live in like a different world. Like, it just doesn't exist.
What are y'all doing? Y'all spending new time.
It's so crazy. But it's funny too, like you look at it too, and it's like when people do hire, and you post these all the time, the messages with some agents where you're like, are you serious? Like,
yeah, probably.
Like, and dude, it's like every day I'm on my way here, and see, this is the problem too. Like I was supposed to have 6 deals closing on Friday. I have 2, because the other 4 deals, people can't do their job.
Yeah.
And the lender replies to my email and says, I cannot take your call. I'm in appointments all day and I'm away from my phone. I'm like, okay, so you email us this morning that you didn't order the second appraisal for the deal that we told you to order 30 days ago. Screenshot of the message, send it to him. He replies back and goes, sorry, must have missed this. So I screenshotted his reply to it where he told me he ordered it. I'm like, bro, what are we doing?
Now, this isn't Jeremy Renova, is it?
No.
No, Jeremy Renova would never do this. So if you need a good hard money lender, I think even Josh.
Yeah, we have 2 closing with them next week, so I haven't had an issue. They do a good job.
Of course, you haven't had an issue. There we go.
So it's just funny. Like, there's so many levels, right? Like, I would never accept that as an agent, right? So I'm on the sell side. I'm a little out of the loop because it's not my lender. It's not my buyer. So, like, I can't really do anything. But now I'm, like, blowing this dude up. But it's just, like, the lack of professionalism across the board is crazy. Like, they need a higher barrier entry to this industry. And I think that's something that would change it. Like,
yeah, people think that having a real estate license is, this is a professional, but it doesn't mean anything, bro.
Bro, it doesn't. I've worked with wholesalers. I've worked with dudes that have done one deal that have had more common sense than a lot of agents.
Yes.
So I always say, it's like majority of this business fits that group where people are like, you guys are overpaid. I can't even argue it. Most agents are. Like, they don't know how to provide value. Like, if the MLS went away, they wouldn't know how to sell deals. Like, it's just, you know, it's too easy for them, you know?
You coming in wholesaler turned agent, man, you got 2 legs up.
I always got to ask you this question because I'm curious. Why have you never, like, looked at getting your license to be able to maximize every lead?
I will tell you why. So, for me, I want to maximize my leads in 3 ways.
Okay.
Way number 1, I want to wholesale it. That's what I ultimately want to do. Number 2, as long as it's not Philadelphia County, I want to flip it. And number 3, if it is a retail lead, I want to use that lead as I get more out of using that lead as currency rather than trying to list it. How much is it going to be if I list it? Even the biggest, like if it's in Philadelphia County, if it's a tip-top house in Philly County, it's like $5,000 I'm going to make. One, like probably, especially if it's just one side, like it's $5,000. It's not an amount of money that's appealing to me.
Yeah.
What is appealing to me, though, is giving that lead to an agent who has a team. They're going to get paid. They're not going to do that much.
Yeah.
It's going to be a perfect slam dunk for them. It wouldn't be a slam dunk for me, but it'll be a slam dunk for them. And they could give me a beta house.
Yeah.
I get so much out of giving those leads away relationship-wise.
Makes sense.
I can turn those listing leads into distressed property leads, depending on who I give them to.
Okay.
So even if I had my realtor's license, I would never list any of these. I have no interest in listing any of these whatsoever. For me, my goals are to be very, very small and very, very efficient, so I can't do many things.
Tunnel vision.
My flips, dude, everybody knows I'm open about this. I'm partnering with Santini on all my flips. I don't care. Like, I don't even do it myself. Super proud that I don't do it myself.
Yeah, no, that's huge. You know? I think, like, being laser focused, and that's kind of like, people, like, ask me a lot because, like, I probably went through, like, 6 months of people being like, why aren't you buying this? Why aren't you buying this? Like, what's wrong with it? I'm like, yo, bro, I'm out. Like, I'm good. Like, I have no interest. Like, if I can make more money every month selling residential real estate than I could flipping without the stress of the overhead, why
would you do it?
And
bro?
Like, every deal I do with Mike, like, I always have the option. If I want to give Mike cash, like, he'll take it, and you know, I'll get the money back at the end. Like, you know, he would never say, don't invest in this deal. You know, so I have the opportunity on every deal I do. All my investors treat me the same. We all have that partnership.
Yeah.
So, like, if I want to flip houses, I can. You know, but like,
you want to stay in your fucking lane.
Yeah, right now I'm in my lane, so I'm most effective, and I never want someone to be like, you're cherry picking deals.
Yeah,
because you burn relationships like that.
Okay.
Like, there's been deals where, like, I told Mike, like, yo, if you don't buy this, I might buy this. You know, and especially, like, I have investors that do, like, a lot in Levittown, and that's bread and butter for me. It's so easy. Like, dude, it's all the same. Dude, it's all
George
the same.
Beatty told me how hot it was.
Yeah, dude, all the same. Like, they're so easy to do. You know what it costs. I don't even have to look at them. It's like Philly. Every house is the same. So, like, even them, I tell them, you don't buy this, I'm gonna buy that. You know, you know. So, and then sometimes I'll be like, yo, like, will you guys buy this? And just do it, and I'll pay you. And you know that too. Like, I have contractors that flip. Like, I'm like, yo, just do this deal. I'll pay you on it, and you don't have to put any money up. We'll split it.
Yeah.
And so I've had that opportunity, but yeah, like, for us, on my leads, I follow kind of the same model. So my first thing always is, can I buy this, right? Like, is it a banger rental property or something like that for me? Can I wholesale it? If not, can I list it? If not, can I help them get a tenant in their properties? If not, are they a buyer? So I look at everything. I'm like, all right,
okay.
That way I'm making the most on every single dollar we spend, and I never just like throw a lead away.
No, it's smart. But you have such a big team though, where operating like that makes so much sense because you have a person for everything. Yeah. So it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Very smart.
It's important, because like money goes quick in this business when you're investing it into marketing and all these things.
You need to get all that out.
You got to squeeze
very
as much.
Smart that you're able to do that.
And like now, like as we're growing, I have kind of like a new system of like, okay, like these are dead leads. We're labeling almost dead leads.
Almost dead. Almost dead.
Almost dead leads. And if they a new agent comes on the team, like there's thousands of leads that they can call. I'm like, yo, hit all these. And if they pull business out of that,
then they're
a hustler.
That's smart. It's a good way to test them.
Yeah, and it gives them something to do, work their way up, and they're not learning to call on like a super hot lead where they might not know exactly what to say yet. So if they fumble it, it's like whatever.
Exactly.
It's practice.
Yes.
It's practice that you could get paid for. And like I've done that, bro. Like I've ran back through lists where I'm like, how the hell did I just get that banger out of there when I've called this list 7 times?
I thought this was beat. Yeah.
It's funny, dude. It never fails. It always happens like that.
Yes.
I remember like a year ago, Ian had one of them. He said to me before the call, he goes, bro, if this guy doesn't do something this time, I'm done calling him. I'm like, I agree. Like, he's smoked.
Yeah.
Literally, dude answers the phone and it's like, you know what, Ian? I'm ready to go. Can you meet me today? I'm like,
run, buck the Uber.
Yeah, so it's funny. Like sometimes it happens like that, but it's like, you got to be pretty effective with all this stuff. I see so many people waste their money. They buy a list, they get Mojo, they never use it. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, that's why I like stuff where you got to spend more money because they don't waste it. It's like when you're committed and you're spending the money, you're locked in. Like, you're like, I'm going to get the most out of what I can do here.
Yes, you're going to treat it. Mm-hmm. You should, at least, if you're spending money on marketing, you're going to treat that.
Yeah.
Very, very different.
You have to, And
you bought these leads, brother.
Yeah.
Stay on them.
There's the guy that owns KW.
Okay.
He has this strategy in this book. It's called Millionaire Real Estate Agent, right? Every January I read this book, and there's like basically levels, right? Okay. So your 7th level business is like the highest level business.
Yes.
I'm probably at like step 4 or 5, and I've been following it to a T because it's like every single thing you need to do is in there, and if you do it right, it's inevitable you're going to be successful.
Okay.
And there's a system in there he calls red light, green light, right? So when you spend money, the green light's on. As soon as you spend that money, you turn red light on until you see your return. You don't go and buy PPC leads, give them a week, and then be like, all right, I'm going to hire a cold caller. And then, all right, now I'm going to hire, like you're not bouncing around. It's like, all right, I'm going to learn how to make money here. Once this is making money to the point that if I double my money, I double my money, now I can go to something else.
Yes, go deep. Don't go wide.
Yeah, and like, that's why we track everything so much because I'm like, all right, well, if I know I get 500 messages go out, I get 20 replies, I get 1 lead. If I want to get 2 leads, can I just do 1,000 messages? And then you track it again. All right, it's pretty accurate. And like it always falls off a little percentage.
Because it's overflow that you weren't expecting.
Yeah, so now it's like, all right, if I want to double, I just have to spend double, and then
essentially, yes.
And that's how big businesses are ran. They know, okay, it's don't buy the cherry juice and the pineapple juice if people only buy the cherry from you. Because now you left with all this pineapple. You might as well just double the cherry.
Yeah.
It's like you ever go to a cheesesteak spot and they're like, yeah, we're out of rolls. I'm like, how, bro? Like, this is your money.
Yeah.
Like, so that's what I've been focusing on now is the business side. Like, that's good. That's where we're trying to go.
I like that.
So let me ask you a question. I know,
of course.
I know I'm your guest here. So what has been like the shift for you to blowing your business up? Because I watched you go through the phases of it as well, and I feel like now you're just so locked in. It's an appointment every day, Like,
yes.
What do you think has been the biggest game changer for you?
You know what? My mindset and they're kind of two in the same, but my circle of people that I talk to on a regular basis and my expectations. So I got to tell you, man, and also having this pod. So I got linked up with Tim T, Francesco, Santini, and like meeting those guys and being around them and how they think really just blew my mind up completely. And it changed, like, first off, my expectations of myself financially, but also how I look at the business, and also let me see how small I was thinking. Like, and having this pawn, I've been able to have relationships with people that, like, most people that come on the pawn are making well over 100 a month, over 100 a month. And all these people I stay in contact with, and I've gotten more mentorship this year that money couldn't buy the mentorship that I've received and that I receive on a daily basis. Money couldn't buy it, brother. Like, you would be so expensive. And I'm super blessed. I'm super blessed, really.
Yeah. I was actually going to ask you that too, is like, how much value have you personally got from the pod? Like, I listen, you know, and I've learned so much from like game, like, and it's always, I always just look for one thing from every person, because I'm like, you know, you're never going to figure everything out from one guy.
Yeah.
It's going to be figuring out one thing from 1,000 people, right?
Yes.
And so, like, I've seen that, and it's like watching you get around certain people and how you've like, all right, we're done with this. We're going at this level and this level,
Yes.
right? And it's funny, you're doing something right now that is like on my vision board for next year is like, you know, full-time driver, right? That's, some people would be like, what, bro? Like, what do you mean? I'm like, no, bro, like, you don't understand. Like, even like when me and my girl go out, right, we always have a driver, because now I'm locked in. We're in the back. We have a conversation. We can be, you know, very engaged. Like, I don't have to focus on driving. Like, just me and you time, because as your life gets busy, those valuable times where you're driving and going somewhere, they're wasted, you know? So it's like, how much more effective can I be, and how much better of a dad can I be when I get home if I was able to get this shit done in the car?
Yes.
You know? So it's like,
exactly.
learning every single one of those little things has just been like, okay, like, I seen someone else do it. I'm like, all right, why are they doing that? Okay, that's why they're doing that, you know?
Yes.
So that's been huge. I think every little piece is what builds it and gets you to the next point, you know?
Heck yeah, bro. For me, my two major turning points are that have really stuck out that I've gotten from everybody's like, bro, in my business, in the wholesale business, all the guys at the top, their average deal size is 25 grand. And like, bro, Phil Vaughn, not a freak animal, doing probably 20, 25 deals a month. 25 grand assignment, average assignment. Justin Johnson, a little bit more difficult to track because he flips also.
Yeah.
With the, you know what I'm saying? So it makes it a little bit different, but like, he's still, his wholesales, his average is 25. He's doing 15, 20 deals a month, no problem, easy, like, without a question. Santini's doing 30 deals a month. Like, there's that many 25 pieces out there. I can do one a week.
Yeah.
I can do one a week. It's not a big deal.
Literally.
That's not a big deal. They're doing 30 a month. They're doing 20, 30 a month. I'm looking to do 4. I can do that. The driver, like, fuck that. I don't like driving. I want to be fully engaged with my family at all times. I want to not waste any time. Bro, lock in. It's so affordable.
It really is. And it's like, it's 2 more deals a year, you know? Like, I look at stuff like that where I'm like, all right, how many more deals do I got to do to be able to afford that? Oh, yeah. 2, whatever, 3, cool. You know, now I just know it's down to the size.
Yeah.
You know, all right, this is what I need, and that's it. You know, and it's funny, like, in real estate, there's a thing called a $1 Million Club, right?
Yes, I hear about that.
So everybody posts it every single month. $1 million means you sold $1 million in volume. But the average cost of a house is like $400,000. So you're selling 2.5 deals, right? Like,
it's nothing.
If we don't do $1 million in a week, like, I'm a
like,
little scared. Like, you know, so it's like every single week, like, we're like, for me, not the team, but like December, like 5.6 million. All right, cool. It's a good month. Keep it going. Like,
yes, keep it
you know,
going.
and like, I'll probably catch shit for this, but like the $1 million thing, I'm like, that needs to be raised. Like,
oh my, thank you for saying that. I think that's so cool.
That was like something that, like, I feel like they had, like, back in like early 2000s when houses were like 150 grand. Like, all right, cool. You're a baller. You're doing 10 deals a month. Good for you. I'm like, we got to up that bar. Like, it needs to be like a $10 million month. Like, that's You know?
There you go.
That's what I'm like, all right, cool. Like, let's, and I mean, hey, man, $1 million in a month, it's still like 25 grand. It's not a little bit of money, like, good for them.
You
But
just make they can talk so confused to get. What is it? $1 million? Yeah. How much money is that really to y'all?
it's 25 grand.
Yeah, 25 grand. Okay,
You know?
cool.
So like, okay, like that's a good living, you know? Like
It's a great living.
25 grand a month is definitely a good living. Don't get me wrong, but like if you have big expectations like that, that should be your floor.
Yes, absolutely. Or you should just go get a job.
Fact.
You know? Like you're gonna be a cowboy. You better be paid like a cow. You better be paid like a
I
cowboy.
know. I got a job offer earlier this year from like a really big construction company to go be a manager for them. And the base was 400,000 plus commission. And I like
Almost took it.
I was like, damn, it's kind of a lot of money guaranteed. I don't have to wake up and worry about where my next check's coming from. Like it's just locked in. But then I was like, I don't want to be locked in an office all day answering for someone else. You know, like I was like, I can't do that. And I was like, oh, back to the grind, you know?
Good.
You know, but most people
Now you got to make it. You got to make enough money to make up for it now.
Oh yeah, dude. And like I mean, if I wasn't at a point where like I was doing that a year, like I probably would have jumped on it. But like now it's like, all right, like is it worth it, right? What am I going to sacrifice for this? And like I thought about it. I'm like, damn, can I sell real estate and do that at the same time? But like you got to be laser focused if you want to run at that high level. And I always say like, no matter what, it's never you versus you, bro. Someone's always coming to take your spot. No matter where you're at in life, there's always somebody that wants what you have.
Okay.
And if you can't run at a pace that they can't catch you, you're opening the doors for them to take your spot. Especially in like real estate as an agent. Like there's only so many big investors and stuff like that. Like if you fall off, like someone else is coming in to take what you got.
Yeah, they want that. Speaking of big investors, so it seems that you started getting with Michael Ho, and you had a big switch in your business where you were doing stuff with investors. You were selling them when it was a beta, and then selling it again as a flip. Like, how do you link up with Michael? How's that changed your business?
So,
and what's been your major turning point? Because Josh last year wouldn't hold a match to Josh this year. It looks like,
so
as far like on an operational standpoint.
So I actually, you know Santos?
Hell yeah, no Santos.
So I posted a deal on Instagram, and Santos being Santos was like, "Take this down right now," you know.
Funny.
And
Santos is your favorite wholesaler?
Facts. He's the mayor. So I was like, all right, like you know, obviously I'm gonna sell it to them. Like I'm not whatever it was.
Yeah, because you want to do the relationship is worth it.
Yeah. So he was like, yo, my boy's gonna come look at this deal. I was like, all right, cool. And I get there, and Mike pulls up, right? And I like try to talk to him. Mike ignored me. He's a dick, you know, whatever. He was just like, yeah, come on, let's walk through real quick. Went through. He's like, I hate it. Tell Santos. I was like, got it. So we left. I texted Santos. I'm like, yo, he said he hates it. And Santos was like, I don't back out of a deal. We're good. I was like, you sure? He's like, yeah. I'm like, all right, cool. And Mike hit me up the second. Oh, no, their lender needed to get in. So I met the lender there to let him in. And I met them there. And Mike texted me. He was like, yo, do you want to grab lunch or whatever? I was like, yeah, word, whatever. So like we connected. And he's like, I'm trying to buy more in Bucks County. At the time, he was mostly doing Philly.
Yeah.
And he's like, just find me deals in Bucks. I was like, all right, cool. And like went to work, and I found him a deal a couple days later. And we got there. He ran the numbers. He's like, yo, it doesn't really work. You know, I was like, how far off are we? And he was like, it's probably like 15 grand. And at the time, I was probably going to make like 15-ish on it. And I was like, look, bro, catch me on the back end. I'll waive my commission. Just catch me on the back end. And then he was like, you sure? I was like, yeah. He's like, all right. And he dipped, right? Hit me up later that day. He's like, yo, I want to like get together. So we linked up, and he's like, yo, most people wouldn't do that. Like, that's not what I see from a lot of people. I think you're solid. Like, let's do more business together. Find me more deals.
Okay.
And we just started working together. And, you know, I'd find a ton of deals every week. And I have a lot of relationships in Bucks County with agents.
Oh, bro, I could you doing all these fucking events, I'm sure, bro.
Most agents, before they even put a deal on the market, are just calling.
They're going to hit you up,
Just call me. And, like, most of the time, like, we just lock it down, whatever. And Mike trusts me. Like, if I'm like, yo, like,
this
just
is a
buy
deal,
this.
take it.
I sold him this one house that another person that was going to buy it, they were like, there's no way your ARV is over 700. Like, you're out of your mind. It's 650. I sold that shit for 770. I told Mike it was worth 700. So like,
That's when you send one of those bees emojis.
yeah. And it's funny because they literally hit me up on Instagram when it sold, and they're like, "You're a fucking bad dude." Like, like,
Yeah,
and
buddy.
it's, now I think we have that relationship too, where it's like, I'm always gonna give him first dibs on his areas. Like we have such a good relationship that like, and he's not somebody that doesn't close, right? Like if I bring him a deal, I feel good about it, and I can stand behind it.
Bro, I did the same thing with him yesterday. Him and two other people wanted the same price as God, right? I was rocking this, whatever. And now I don't have to deal with anything. I'll just rock with him.
Yeah, you have to. Like when people are closers and they're gonna get to the table, like you feel better about it. And then I have a few other investors that I started doing more with, and it's funny. One of my investors, their family runs a big real estate company, and they don't work with their pops no more. They work with me because like he just wasn't bringing shit to the table, and like. It's funny because, like, I've had a lot of deals that Mike's brought me that I sold to them. So it's like everybody eats, and there's no animosity. It's all like we all keep getting shit done. And, like, there's, like, 3 big dudes in Bucks County that sell deals. And, like, I'm definitely one of the 3.
Dude, you got a face card in Bucks.
Dude, it's crazy. Like, and it's funny because I always see the 2 other guys when we get to certain houses. I'm like, why didn't we carpool? Like, like what are we doing?
We're all competing over the same weeds.
Everyone
competes over the same
It really is. And, so working with Mike definitely helped elevate my business because I think I had more confidence going into looking at deals that I knew I could close on them if I got the deal.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
So I just bring in stuff to the table, making sure I'm constantly bringing it to the table. And then I started working with a couple other big investors that do a lot too. So like that was like, it's a no-brainer. Now, like I know if I have a deal, it's gone. And I think I had that like mental blockage of like, am I going to be able to find a buyer, And it might have scared me away, I think, in the beginning, like a couple years ago. Like that was my issue. I definitely think knowing that these guys are in my pocket, like if I have a deal, I'm selling it.
You have a move for this, you already know.
No matter what, and like now I work backwards through the deals with sellers too. It's like, look, like this is our end goal. This is our game plan. Like this is what we do. This is how we're going to do it. And it's funny. There's like one neighborhood in Levittown. My investors built like a couple new constructions in there. Anytime I'm on the phone with a seller over there, they're like, "Oh, you guys did, I'm like, "Yes."
Super valid. They know, everybody knows who you are because of that.
And like we have a lot of the highest sales comps in neighborhoods. So like we're constantly mailing those neighborhoods like with our face on it, like, "Hey, highest sale ever in your neighborhood." So when people want to sell, they know who to call.
For sure.
And like definitely helps that my investors all put out nice products, but we also get them in front of the right people.
You doing bad houses, Josh won't do it with you. You better do good work.
Dude, it's funny. I just was on the phone with Mike about this. I was chasing this deal for 2 years, right? Old lady, new construction, Yardley, banger, right? I'm like, oh, yeah, this is going to be sweet.
They're going to jump.
I went there yesterday. I walked in. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me.
This is what I've been following up with for a year.
Oh, my God, bro. It was like the worst work I've ever seen in my life. And like, I'm blunt, bro. I'm going to tell you what it is. I told her straight up. I was like, yo, this looks awful. And she like looked at me. She's like, what do you mean? She's like, the last realtor was in here doing his song and dance and like told me he's going to virtually stage it. I said, good
for him.
I was like, I'm glad. I'm like, whatever price he told you, I'm 200,000 under it.
Yeah.
And like she wants 960. I was like, I think you're worth 7. And she was like, what do you mean? I was like, you built a 4,000 square foot house with wood cabinets and laminate countertops. I'm like, what are you doing? You got drop-in showers. I'm like, you're trying to sell $1 million home with $300,000 finishes. It doesn't work like that. Yeah. Like, I'm like, I got guys in the city putting nicer shit in than this.
Yeah.
In freaking North Central. What are we doing?
They're beat. They got you.
And she's just like, no. Like, I think we'll be good. And I was like, look, this is my number as of what we would sell it for. I'm like, I'm sure we can get it done. But, like, you're not getting that number.
Yeah.
And whoever she goes with at this point, bro, I ain't even mad about it. Because, like, I don't want to put my name on it. Like, sometimes you got to just let it go.
When it failed with, like, 2 realtors, then she'll come back to you.
Oh, yo. And I've had that happen, too. Like, it is what it is. I had one guy. I called him, for sale by owner. Go on the appointment. He's like, no, I'm not paying you 6%. I'm like, all right, bro, good luck. He's like, what do you mean? You're not going to negotiate with me? I was like, nope. I'm not down here. I'm not driving to the city. Your price point's too low. It doesn't make sense for me. I bounced, went on the market with an agent for like 12 months, 13 months. Came off the market. I'm sitting in the sauna at the gym, bro. I see it pop back up. I'm like, you got to be kidding me.
This guy.
I call him. I'm like, yo. He answers the phone. He's like, you can come today. I'm like, you got my number saved? He's like, yes, I do. I was like, cool. I get down there. Signs the contract with me, bro. 6%, my number for the price. It was on C Street. Like, it's cheap house. It was nice.
Okay.
Yeah, it was nice though.
If it's a letter, you're in trouble.
Yeah, it is. And signs the contract. I shit you not. Someone knocks on the door. I open the door. Person's like, hey, I have an appointment with you today with the seller. I looked at him. He's like, I forgot. I'm like, what are we doing? He's like, I got a signed contract. If you want to walk them through. I was like, okay. Walked them through. They're like, we'll buy it. How much? And I was like, I told them the price. It was like $130 or whatever. Yeah. They're like, cool, we'll take it. I looked at the seller. I was like, should have called me a year ago. We closed. Everything was all good. I've done a couple deals with him since, but like, it was so funny. Like, you just let someone else fail so I can come in and make it easy for me. You know?
I like that. Yeah, don't compete on price.
That one was like the most karma deal ever. I looked at the seller. I was like,
wait, why didn't you let this go so long?
Yeah, you know, so sometimes it just happens. But yeah, I mean, it's this last year, it's just been a lock-in, man. Just understanding, like, I got to show up. I got to treat it like a job. I can't be fucking off all week. Like,
yeah.
I can't tell people I'm working hard and then not actually put the work in. And sometimes I think we tell ourselves we're working hard, but like, if you haven't fallen asleep at your desk from working so long, you're not working that hard, you know?
Fact.
Like, I was always the first one in, last one out once I locked it. And that's the mentality I try and have. And I never...
You still live like that, first in, last out?
For the most part, yeah. And
right.
like, I never want people on my team to think that I'm going to tell them to do something I won't do.
I dig that.
You lead by example, you know? Like, I never, I don't know. I see a lot of team leads that, like, they prey on weak people. They hire people that can't do it on their own. I want everybody that works for me to be able to do it on their own, but choose to still work with me.
Okay, I dig that.
So you gotta hustle, man. You know,
yeah.
Like, that's what it is. And now it kind of lights a fire because I see some of them. I'm like, damn, you're about to catch me this month. Like, no way. I'm back to work, back to the grind. You know, and it's never a bad vibe if they do beat me, but like, I always tell them, I'm like, I ain't gonna let that happen.
Yeah. So let me ask you. So do you pay for their marketing or?
Yeah, everything's paid for. So I gotta.
But they're not gonna leave you. Yeah. They're a good salesperson. They just want to be a salesperson. Why would they ever leave you?
Yeah.
Why would they ever leave you? Yeah.
Yeah. So like, we pay for their marketing. We fund a lot. They get a really sweet deal being with us. I'm probably one of the easier teams as far as splits and stuff like that go. But like, I didn't build the team just to make money. I built the team to have the resources to provide as much value to all my clients as possible.
Cool.
Like, if you were a seller, right, and you were gonna hire me or that agent over there, right? He's one guy by himself, but he's crushing it. You got like 20 listings, right?
Yeah.
We're crushing it too, but I got 8 agents that all are ready to show up and crush it for you. Who's gonna be more responsive and getting shit done? The guy handling 30 deals by himself, or the guy with an entire business?
Facts. It's powerful when you show it to a seller.
So like, for us, like, especially like, you look at like open houses and things like that, like, it's physically impossible to do 2 open houses at the same time, you know? So even if you have 2 deals and you're a solo agent, you can't do both. It's impossible.
No, you really can't.
You know? So like, some people are like, we really want the open houses. We really want this. I got to be able to
do that. You can't.
Yeah.
You have a big enough team.
Exactly. So it's like, having the resources to be able to provide that value is huge. And like, we rip so much business from open houses, dude. Like, we're always on it. Like, we just sold a duplex that I got from one of the agents on my team picking up an open house sign from an open house we did.
That's nice.
You know? And like, same thing, like, this was like multifamily property. This is the team advantage, right? Multifamily property. She's not really a listing agent. She hasn't done a lot of listings. She's a great agent, but not her thing.
Yeah.
And she's like, hey, will you go on the appointment with me? Help me close this. We'll split it, whatever. Okay. And I was like, yeah, of course. Like, whatever. We go on it, make sure, you know, right in, like, to the close. And it is what it is. Like, now she felt confident. She had that value. You know, she goes on that appointment. It's like, all right, like, let's get it done. You know, so I think that's been like night and day. All my agents have confidence because they know if they can't do it, someone on the team's going to help them.
Heck yeah. You got all these agents booking appointments. All you got to do is rock with worst comes to worst and then just do what you're good at is closing. You're a closer.
Yeah.
You shouldn't just be booking appointments. You should just be going on appointments and dealing with it.
Exactly. You know, and I always say, like, if I get in front of somebody, like,
Oh, it's a wrap,
if the deal's able to be closed,
you're going to
close
get it. Yeah, for sure.
So that's important. And sometimes, like, bro, I walk away from deals sometimes. Like, I'm like,
good.
You're not someone I want to work with, or it's not a good fit, or it's unrealistic. Like, I'll let someone else take that. But
don't be clouding up your bandwidth or your time for things that are not going to be worth the squeeze.
Yeah, you said something like a year ago, maybe it might have been longer. It feels like a year ago, where you were like, the guy that keeps like, rescheduling with you, like, you got to throw him to the curb and go get the guy that's ready to move today.
Fuck,
And dude, I was like, damn, fuck.
Yeah.
He's on it. You got to go get the hot ones, because the hot ones are going to close.
Dude, the hot ones are what matters. Not to say you have that. I think in that clip, I was like, throw them in the trash. What I really mean is, like, put them on a fully automated drip sequence and never let a real human being touch it unless they're ready to talk to you.
Yeah.
But, bro, I only deal with, if you want to sell, if you don't want to sell, unless you say, I want to sell in 30 days or less, I'm not going, bro. Yeah. I'll talk to you later.
It's funny too. Like, all my stuff set up on, like, really nice drip setup.
Good.
And I had one on a 6-month follow-up drip, right? So they just got the message today. Mm-hmm. And at the last message, they told me to go fuck myself. This one, they told me $200,000. I, like, pulled the comps. I'm like, this shit's worth like $250.
Yeah.
I replied back. I'm like, are you sure? I just.
Is this the real person?
Yeah. I like asked them a few questions, and they were like, yeah, we're good to go, whatever. So, like, I got on a call with them, talked it over. Like, I'm gonna go on the appointment, get it listed, but it's just a follow-up, bro. And, like, I wouldn't have followed up with them. Like, I wouldn't have remembered. The drips are key. Like, having those systems in place to make your life easy, then you can go high level.
Yes, very much so. Very much so.
It's funny. My aunt works on my team now. And she uses the same system I use. And she's like, I'm not, like, really getting any, like, traction here. So, like, I sat down with her. We went over it. And I showed her. I'm like, it was more of, like, a fear of rejection problem. I was like, yeah.
People are very afraid of that. That's real. Fear of rejection is real.
Dude, but I told her, I said, stop acting like these are real people, right? Just
thank you.
Just think about every single time you send a message, you might make $10,000.
That's it.
It makes life so much easier.
Yeah, bro. They're not real. They're actually,
yeah, bro.
100%.
And they're not rejecting you. They're rejecting the offer. Yeah. So when you frame it like that in your head, if you're fearful of rejection, it makes it easier. Like, for me, and I feel like it's like this for you too, it's a game, bro. Like, I love it. Like,
I don't care, bro.
I just want to go hunt, But she literally replies to this lady while she's with me. Lady hits her back, goes on the appointment yesterday, gets the listing signed. I'm like, how long you been following up with this girl? It's like 6 months. I'm like, all you had to do was message her. She was like waiting for you, But that was like a good thing. So I'm like, all right, cool. You've seen proof of concept. Like, you understand it works now. And, like, when you, as a realtor, so many people just want to work with people they know. I'm like, the group of people you know is only so big. I'm like, if you want to make real money, you got to work with people you don't know. And I always say, like, you're not a real agent or a real, like, salesperson until you close someone you don't know. And, like, that's, like, the turning point, too. Like,
yes.
I think I was so young when I started.
I appreciate that.
When I was young, like, nobody I knew was buying houses. Like, so I had no choice. Like, I just had to work with people I didn't know.
Yeah.
So, like, some people, like, they have a fear of that. I'm like, dude, this shit's easy. Like,
bro, it's easier to work with people.
Family's usually the worst business, bro. They really are. Like, they expect so much out of you because, oh, you're my family. I'm like, nah, bro. Like, this is, like, what? Like, what are we doing here? No way. So I always think working with people you don't know is actually easier. It's just getting them on board first.
Until you're big dog. Once you're big dog, then you're good.
Yeah.
But in the come up, yes.
Oh, 100%. Because they just expect so much.
Yeah.
So that's been a huge part of it.
Heck yeah, I like it. Well, do you have what are your goals for 2025?
So by end of 2025, I want to do 215 units with the team. 215 units closed with the team. That's like $75 million.
75 minutes in sales. How much money is that, though, to the rest of us in our age?
So
what is the commission? Like, what does that mean to you?
Probably looking somewhere around $2.5 million in commissions.
Okay.
So like 30 million's about $1 million. So like 2.5, give or take, in commissions. And then I really want to focus on growing out the team. So like my main focus next year is going to be recruiting talent.
Yes.
Managing the team and putting together some high level systems that are going to make all this shit way easier. I want to own our CRM. Like, I want to own that shit myself.
Okay.
And be able to build off of that in the future. And then personal goal by the end of 2025 is I do full-time driver, Mercedes Sprinter van type deal, It's my goal.
Oh, bro, it's so much more affordable. We'll talk about that off camera, right?
Yeah.
It's actually way more affordable than you think.
Yeah, so that's and that's something I want to be able to offer to the team. Like, yo, like go out with your spouse. You know, go.
Yeah, you did a good job.
Go do that. So you know, that's where we're going, and I think new office space that we own is something that's coming.
Okay, I think that.
I'm searching. I'm on the hunt. There's a very fine line of areas we're allowed to be because of like restrictions for franchises and shit. So I'm hunting. So
I think
anybody in Bucks County, Langhorne area gets a commercial building, call me. I'm looking.
Big bio here.
Yeah,
Legit.
we're ready to go.
And before we wrap this up, could you give any of my listeners some advice that are struggling to either do their first wholesale deal or get traction in their realtor business?
So what I tell anybody that is focusing on building their business from the ground up in any kind of real estate, if you're not doing high-level tracking, you are missing out on so many opportunities. You need to figure out what your numbers are to convert before you can convert. So an example is, 500 messages going out, about 20 replies turns into one appointment. How many of those do you need to get a deal closed? So I think that's a game changer. Like tracking and being able to understand, what do I need to do to get in front of one person, right? So how many times do I need to make a contact before I can close a deal?
Yes, great advice. Because when you can figure out that, then you can just reverse engineer back and determine exactly how much you want to make.
Exactly. And don't worry about finding the buyer. Just find the deal first. The deal's good enough, you'll always be able to sell it.
Yes, the hungry hyenas will come to you. Josh, thank you so much.
You,
I've had a great conversation with you. You're the friggin' man.
Let's get it, man. I appreciate you.
All right. Happy hunting.